going to review Scratch. So Scratch is a coding program that some of you may have heard of or used before. It's really user-friendly and you can make a lot of really fun projects with it. You can make things as simple or as complex as you want. And it's a great way to get started into coding and the idea of computational thinking and algorithms and things like that. So I'm going to show you an example of a Scratch or two that I have created. I'm also going to show you how you could start a Scratch and the basic building blocks of how it works. So I'm going to start actually up here and I'm going to just show a few components of how you would code a Scratch, and then we can go from there. So I'm going to click Create. Now this is the Scratch mascot and they're called sprites. So sprites are essentially the different characters or objects that you would want to code. So you can pick from lots and lots of options for this. You can make any of these things move, talk. You can make them into buttons. You can make things into a game. You can make it into a homework assignment for your students. There are a lot of options. So I'm just going to keep the classic sprite, the little cat. So basically the whole idea of it is this is your code bar on the left side where my mouse is right now, and you can make whatever sprite you're using do whatever you want. So it's essentially just how you would code a computer, just in a little bit more of a user-friendly style. So I'm going to start things out. You want to go through all of these. So we have motion. So this is obviously to make your sprite move. Then we have look. So this could be saying things, thinking things, switching their costumes so they can look different. You can change it into other sprites. This can just show or hide your sprite. Then you can make them say sounds, change the volume. This is the event section, which would be the beginning of your coding block. So this is the most basic one, I would say. It's called when flag clicked. So that would be this flag up here. We'll go into that in a little bit. So these are some different options for that. And then this is the control center. This is a little bit more complex, but the more you use Sprite, the more it would become familiar to you. Also, a pro tip is that there are so many Scratch YouTube videos out there, from the most simple to the most complex projects. So if you ever have an idea or questions, I'm sure that there is a YouTube tutorial out there. So those are the controls. Sensing could be a little bit more complex as well, but you can change the backdrops, you can set timers, you can ask questions to the user, and then the computer would respond to those questions. Operators, so this would be more for like some game style things that you could make on Scratch. So you could do like math problems, less than, equal to, greater than, lots of options for that. And then there's also variables. So let's start off, and we're just going to do when the flag is clicked, and we want to move our sprite 10 steps. That would be fine. You can also change it. So if we want to change it, we can do 15 steps. We could also have our sprite say something. So we could do say hi W200, and it will come up as a text box. I'll make him say that for 3 seconds. And then we can also do, how about, I'll actually make him wait in between walking and saying hello. So that's like a super, super basic way of starting, but here is what we'll do. So here's our sprite right here, and then when the flag is clicked, he should do what I coded. So right now he's walking, and then hi W200, and then that's it. So that's the whole thing, and then you can click it again, and he'll do it again, and again, and again. So that is a very basic start to it. You can also change a backdrop. So if you wanted to make it a theme, you can put it at the beach and you can have your sprite move around. You can add more sprites so he could interact with other sprites. So we could add a bear to the beach. And then that's a whole nother thing to code, if that makes sense. So I could do another one. When this is clicked, I want the bear to say hello for 2 seconds. And then see, they're working at the same time. So that's basically the general idea of how this would work. Now I'm going to go into my account and I am going to show you just a quick example of something that you would maybe do later on. So I have lots of options that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a really fun take-home quiz that I did for one of my previous classes within the CEL program at the School of Ed. This is a take-home quiz I did, and it's essentially like a math problem generator. It's almost like a computer game for kids. So I'm going to see inside. So this is a pretty complex code, so we can go more into depth with this later, but there are a lot of moving components, and I will show you just a quick example of what this would look like. Okay, so this is just the beginning. So this is already done, so I'm acting as the user, not the computer. So 5 times 5 is 25. I'm entering that in. And then 3 times 11, let's say I actually didn't know this answer. My question, or I'm going to type it in as 44 instead of 33. And then it would say, not quite, try again. Then you would keep going and so on. And then your score changes and it will just change as you are answering things. So that's a more complex version that you can make eventually in Scratch. But I also have made super, super basic programs like this, where I basically just wanted to move a bunch of things at the same time on my screen. So if I click go, and you click certain buttons. So I clicked this to trigger the ball rolling and the wings flapping, and I made them count. So it's basically anything you want to do with it. You don't have to make it into a game or anything like that, but there are lots of options. Again, if you have any questions or ideas that you want to figure out how to use, see, this is another really basic one. This one is just like moving across the screen. This is when I was first learning how to use Scratch. So if you have any other questions, please look on YouTube because there are so many resources on YouTube for you to figure out Scratch. I hope this helped, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.